The Mavericks build a big lead and then hold on in the fourth quarter for their 7th straight win, taking out the Toronto Raptors. We break it all down here. Coming up next on the DLS Mavs postgame show. Here we go. Hey, what's up, DLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We are DLS Mavs, your favorite guys covering your favorite team every single game night. At Kevin Gray Sports, at Tim_Cato, at Bobby Carella. And later on in our show, we'll be joined by our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, at the Stein Line. The Dallas Mavericks.
From Toronto.
Live from Toronto. You're exactly right. The Dallas Mavericks use a big lead and then hang on in the fourth quarter to take out the Toronto Raptors 125-118 for their 7th straight win. The Mavericks are now 7-1 in their last 8 road games. And yes, boys and girls, a season high 8 games above 500, now at 16-8, and even climbed up to number 2 in the Western Conference standings. So much to break down as Luka Doncic gets his 2nd consecutive triple-double. Luka and Kyrie combining for 59 points on the night. And the Dallas Mavericks, gentlemen, crisscrossing the country, go up to Canada, north of the border, and take out Toronto for what was a good win against a team that's played pretty well at home, decently at home, but they found a way to get it done and hang on in the fourth quarter.
They only won by 7 points, which means that I don't get to talk about their net rating as much. Oh, my God. The most important thing is that it was a good win. It was a good win. I don't care. Dallas was not amazing in the second half. It got a little bit closer than it should have. But you take these wins. You don't really care about stuff like, oh, my God, they needed to blow them out. They needed to do, like a 20-point margin would have meant that they went up net rating by 2 points. I don't care. Dallas got, the result that they needed. And, oh, my God, Kyrie Irving, 29 points. He had twice as many points, more than twice as many points as he had shot attempts. Good player.
It's called efficiency, Bobby Carella, for Kyrie Irving.
Really good player.
Who, by the way, played his 100th career regular season game as a Dallas Maverick tonight.
Yeah, it was a good win. It was a good win. I mean, I already opened my thing.
Embarrassing.
That's me cracking open my
heavy
can.
lift in there.
That sounded like the jokes you were making all night.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was making some good jokes. Chill out. It was a good win. It was a good win. I mean, we're going to talk about the win for the next hour. The main takeaway is, I mean, we have spelled out in great detail over the last few weeks just how much travel they're doing, how many trips they're taking, how many plane rides, how many guys are out, how many guys are fighting through garbage, whatever. And so, they were up 24. They won by 7. That's awesome. That's really cool. Going into the game, if you would have said Mavs by 7, I would have said, sign me up. I'm there. Don't care how you get there. And it was clear they took their foot off the gas, but hey, I don't fault them. They won the game. It's all good.
And we've talked about this. It's easier. It's so much easier when you have the big lead, and then even if it lapses, you know when to lock back in when you're a professional NBA team that knows you're better than the opponent. And they did it just enough. This one, they let the rope go a little more than you would like them to see.
Ooh, PJ was trying to give it away in the fourth quarter, man. He was trying to give the game away.
Oh, no, 100%.
Took turns.
Yes, they did. Washington and
But when you build that lead, you can let that lead go when you're a team like this. When you're a professional NBA team, when you're a very good professional NBA team, you can let the lapses happen, and you know when to lock back in. You know when to click back in. And even if it didn't happen, when they were down 12, you'd like for it to click back in then and rebuild it. Or when you're down 6. But they did it just enough, and that to me it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, this was the epitome of like the Marc Stein joke of never a doubt. I was never worried. I never thought they were going to lose. I was never like I never had any concern at all. So yeah, I mean, all in all, and it was an early tip too. All in all, great night.
I'm about to say we love an early tip in the NBA, don't we, Grady? But at the same time, when you're thinking about the Toronto Raptors, you see what I did there? The Mavericks winning, though, 125-118. By the way, that means they've won 11 of their last 12 games and are absolutely scorched, and they own the longest active winning streak in the Western Conference. 6 guys in double figures tonight. Kyrie Irving, how about this? We talked about how good the Mavericks have been on the road. Kyrie Irving now 5 straight games on the road with at least 25 points. That is how good Kyrie Irving has been when he's been away from the American Airlines Center. Luka Doncic is also making some history tonight as well. His second straight triple-double also gives him his 79th career triple-double, passing Wilt Chamberlain and James Harden for 7th place alone on the all-time triple-doubles list. Do you know who's ahead of him in 6th?
Oh, it's 6.
LeBron?
That was going to be my first name.
Magic?
No. Don't think about it too hard.
Jokic. Russell
Jokic
West.
just passed Magic.
That's right.
Michael Jordan.
His head coach, Jason Kidd.
Oh, that's cool.
Jason
Okay,
Kidd.
that
now,
took
he's
a
got a
lot of
long way to
thinking.
go.
You think J Kidd is going to start like benching him at like 9 boards? He's like, nah, you're out.
Drama in the Mavericks locker room.
That's
the
right.
head coach and the star player are at odds over a record.
Over a triple-double record. But yes,
Over
Jason
a triple-double
Kidd,
record. Exactly. No, that's terrifying.
Yeah, Jason Kidd is up next for Luka
This
Doncic.
is gonna be the main storyline the rest of the season.
I mean, he's going to need like 50 like triple-doubles to like get close.
Yeah, well, how many games are left? More than 50.
There are more than 50. There is
Barely.
technically- Yes,
Barely.
there is. That's right.
Barely.
But yeah, that Jason Kidd is next up.
Wait,
on
there's
the,
actually literally 50. I can't do math right now.
It's okay.
There's 58 games left.
That's right.
Yeah.
They are now 16-8 after 24. The Mavericks, I mean, look, a team that was 5-7 on November 15th has now gotten to a point where they've won 2 out of every 3 games. And that's because they have been on such a torrid run.
We told you.
Did we?
At 6-8, yes.
At 5-7, did we feel that way?
Tanner, go back to our show at 6-8. Clip what I said about them.
Oh, okay.
But only clip the good parts where I said it's probably going to be fine.
Can you be more specific? I'm not sure what you mean.
Hey, if you don't see any clips of me sounding smart, just act it out, record it, and then pretend it was me.
That's too
Got
much work for Tanner as it is already. By the way, Luka Doncic, 30 points tonight, had 13 rebounds, 11 assists. And oh, by the way, how about another 4 steals for 77 tonight? He continues his thievery that he has been on. A top 10 steals guy in the association is Luka Doncic. I'm sure somebody will ask him post-game about the 4 steals.
Oh, he
that
was
had.
hunting them tonight.
Oh, was he hunting for his steals tonight? Is that what you feel like?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's a good thing, though, right? You gamble sometimes, you get it every now and then. Not necessarily by like, no, don't gamble for steals.
Yeah, I said
second half film is not going to look that great in that regard. But hey, he got 4.
That's right, Herbert. Second place by ourselves. That's right. The Dallas Mavericks are in sole place in second. It could have felt like, and it was at times because the Raptors were able to cut it down to 5 in the fourth quarter after a Grady Dick 3-pointer. But at the same time, we thought coming into this game, look, it could be a classic trap game. You've got the NBA Cup quarterfinal game on Tuesday against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Toronto was above 500 at home coming into this game. In fact, 2-1 in their last 3 games at home. But the Mavericks were able to use what was a big lead at one point, leading by as many as 24 in this game. The Mavericks actually were outscored in the final 2 quarters, 33-30 and 31-25, but they had built such a big lead that they were able to hang on in the end to be able to get it done. Some of the numbers from this game: Mavericks shooting 17 of 45 from downtown at a near 38% clip overall, shooting 47% from the field. Meanwhile, Toronto shot 46% from the field and 38.5% from 3. The big difference in the game, boys and girls, the Mavericks went 32 of 37 from the free throw line tonight, while Toronto went 17 of 18. The Mavericks out-rebounded Toronto by a plus 13, 52-29 on the glass, but 32 points at the free throw line, Bobby. I mean, you were able to take advantage of the opportunities that you had, and they did so in a big way at the free throw line.
Yeah, outside of Barnes, and I mean Davion Mitchell to an extent, but he is pretty physical and probably should get called for more fouls than he gets called for. He's very much like Lou Dort, but they don't have a lot of good perimeter defenders. They have Pirtle on the inside, but if you're aggressive and you go at him, sometimes you get whistles. And whenever he's off the floor, they don't have anybody that can protect the rim. So, the Mavs are pretty aggressive. All in all, it bared out as they only took 28 shots in the lane. They only ended with 32 points in the paint, which is their fewest all season by 6. But a lot of that was limited because they just drew so many fouls. So 37 free throw attempts has got to be probably their second most in a game all season. If not more than what they took against Memphis. I don't remember.
No, they went 30 of 44 that night.
That's right. 30 of 44. They missed 14 free throws?
Yeah, they missed 14 free throws.
Well, it's good that they were 32 of 37 tonight. I mean, it was a pretty high possession game, all things considered. But, yeah, I mean, they were really aggressive. Dinwiddie in particular was really aggressive, and Lively shot a lot of free throws, and PJ thought that foul where Mitchell tripped him and, the Raptors challenged and it stood, which I was kind of surprised by, honestly. I just thought that they would have said like he was already falling down before the contact happened.
It looked like incidental contact, honestly.
Yeah, but it was, it turned out to be a bit of a fortunate break for the Mavs. Then PJ, I think, made both of those.
Mm-hmm.
Lively had 6 free throw attempts and made 5. Like, what more can you ask for?
Correct.
Yeah, Mavericks taking advantage of their opportunities at the free throw line. Toronto ended that final 2:47 of the third quarter on an 11-0 run to cut what was a 24-point deficit down to 13 going into the fourth quarter at 100-87. The Raptors eventually cut it down to 5 with a $1:35 left. Grady Dick knocked down a three-pointer, and you're getting into some hairy territory there as the Mavericks were trying to hang on to win. But Derek Lively with back-to-back blocks, including one on Jakob Poeltl, that was initially called goaltending but was overturned on a challenge by the Dallas Mavericks. They were able to get that bucket overturned to maintain.
Good challenge, by the way.
What was
great
a 5-point
challenge.
lead? Yeah.
Yeah, great, an amazing play by Lively because he blocked the first one, and then he blocked it going this way, or maybe it was like this. I don't remember. But he blocked it facing to his right. Ball bounces back to a different guy on the other side, and then he has to block the shot, land, turn around, recognize what's happening.
Do you want to act it out?
Again.
Do you want me to go get a football?
Well, I just kind of did.
And just
He did
toss
kind
it
of
out?
just act it out himself.
Yeah,
already.
I just kinda did, yeah.
Now, top 50 player.
Top 50 player.
And he ain't 50.
Definitely not 50. But, yeah, those two blocks were
49.
huge. PJ Washington won the jump ball with 1:02 left. The Mavericks were able to make enough free throws down the stretch to ice it to be able to win their 11th game in the last 12 tries. A team that is as hot as any in the league now set up a showdown with the Oklahoma City Thunder on Tuesday on the road. Where have you heard that before for the Mavericks? On the road as they look to try to advance to Las Vegas to get to the semifinals. But a win that they were able to get, not only building the big lead, holding on down the stretch, but you got a lot of contributions from a lot of different guys, which has become a hallmark of this team. Multiple guys contributing. No Naji Marshal again, who missed a game due to illness. Maxi Kleber was also out due to illness. Jaden Hardy missed a game as well due to an ankle sprain. But enough guys, as we mentioned, 6 guys in double figures were able to help out Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving combined for 59 points. But that has become a hallmark of this team. Multiple guys contributing every single night.
Yeah, I don't know. This game felt kind of like a last year's Mavs game where it was just Luke and Kyrie were carrying, except for one difference maker. Shout out Klay Thompson.
Yes.
20 points on 16 shots, only 3 of 9 for 3, but he had one trip where he missed one, got offensive rebound, got the ball back, and made it. He was really good. He was really decisive in the first half. I thought he was maybe doing a little too much with the ball. In the second half, he was like, wait a minute, I'm Klay Thompson. My job is to catch it and shoot, catch it and score. And he did that. And so he had 20. That's 3 guys with 20. The big 3, if you want to call them that, combined for 79 points. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that'll win you a lot of games. And Klay's best game since returning from the plantar fascia injury with the 20 points, shooting 50%, going 8 of 16 from the field, knocked down 3 threes as well. Also got 5 rebounds in the game. So Klay Thompson pitching in a big way for the Mavericks as they win 125-118 on the road over the Toronto Raptors for their 7th straight win. The hottest team in the association right now are your Dallas Mavericks, and they did it again on the road. Coming up next here on the Dlls Mavs post-game show, what was the turning point in this game, the moments that define how the Mavericks won their 7th straight game. Plus, later on in our show, our NBA insider Marc Stein will join us live from Toronto with his perspective on tonight's win for Dallas. All that and more coming up next here on the Dallas Mavs postgame show.
With Empire today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Empire today is the best place to get new flooring, so of course they have copycats, but Empire can't be beaten on quality, service, or speed. So those low-life grifters are going to advertise you low-quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire keeps shopping for floors simple with a curated product selection. With their virtual floor designer, you can see how your new floors will look in any space with your decor, with your lighting. It's easy to snap a picture and instantly see those new floors where you use your floors. You don't got to go to a big box store, get beaten down by some crusty salesman. No, you can do it from the comfort of your own home. So schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code DLLS. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/DLLS for details and to save yourself some sweet, sweet cash.
Am I Foco?
Yeah, that's you, man.
You said I was second. You said I was first or second. Get fitted out with the best sports gear around? No, I disagree.
I literally said, never mind. Keep going. Keep going.
We have 2 minutes.
Get fitted out with the best sports gear around. Hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. If you're going to a basketball game or a hockey game, show off your love with team-branded friendship bracelets. Whether it's jackets, beachwear, even overalls, they've got gnomes, they've got nutcrackers. There is something for fans of almost every occasion. Some of our set decorations, in fact. Foco has donated them a few awesome pieces for our sets. Go show them some love. Check out foco.com or click the link in the description below. For all non-presale items, use the promo code DLLS10 for 10% off. Again, that's promo code DLLS10.
The Mavericks win their 7th straight game, 125-118. How about that? They won by 7 for their 7th straight win. Just put that together. How about
Serendipitous.
Do you think they did that on purpose?
that? I mean, it
They were
worked
up too
out.
much. They were like, wait a minute.
Are they
Wait a
going to
minute.
beat the Oklahoma City Thunder by 8?
I mean, we'll find out on Tuesday.
88-80.
We'll find out on Tuesday
be
when
the
the
funniest
Mavericks
score of all
visit the
time.
Thunder for a spot in the NBA Cup semifinals. But let's get to what was some of the turning points of this game. By the way, nearly 350 people watching live right now while you're here. I need you to like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports while you're here on YouTube. But also, download and subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts for free. Give it a 5-star rating and write a review for it while you're there, as the Mavericks were able to build a big lead, leading by as many as 24 at one point in this game, hang on for the 7-point win as they were able to knock down enough free throws in the fourth quarter to get it done. Let's take a look and examine some of the moments of this game that define how the Mavericks were able to get this win. I want to fast forward to the third quarter because the Mavericks were able to lead by 16 at halftime, 70-54, scoring 35 points in each of the first and second quarter. By the way, the play of the game, Luka Doncic capped off a fantastic first half by hitting a near half-court shot on what was the left side of the floor. It felt like it was a one-handed three-pointer to give them that 16-point lead, arguably the shot of the night for the Dallas Mavericks.
I believe the third longest shot he's ever hit. Luka, for as many times as he's hit, in practice, he's hit four-court shots. In the Rising Stars game, his sophomore year, he hit from beyond half court in that setting, but that's not an NBA game.
Him and Trae Young had a moment there.
He has hit a 80-footer, something like an 80-footer, basically like even with the opposing free throw line, but it wasn't in live game action. It came after the whistle. So he has hit one shot from beyond half court. He has hit one more shot against Brooklyn, I believe, his first or second season, from just inside half court. I believe this was the third longest shot he's ever hit in his entire career. He does it a lot.
He does.
But he weirdly does not do it as often as you think in a half-court setting. Like actually in a game with the clock running. He did it tonight.
He did.
As a one-hander.
It was a gorgeous shot. Yeah. And the Mavericks led by 16 at halftime.
The type of shot you hit often in the gym. I've seen you play. You're hitting that all the time.
That's sweet of you, Tim. I appreciate you guys.
They're calling you the Luka Doncic of DLLS.
Damn. I'll take that. Where's my raised Bobby? No, I'm just joking.
You think I'm in charge of that stuff, buddy?
But the Mavericks led by 16 at halftime. Luka Doncic in that first half, 15 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. Mavericks shot 48% from downtown in that first half, going 11 of 23, shot 54% overall, and went 17 of 20 from the free throw line. The Mavericks did have 10 turnovers in that first half, but they also had 5 steals and 3 blocked shots. Luka and Kyrie combining for 33 of those 70 first half points for Dallas. But as you start going into the third quarter, the Mavericks were able to push the lead to 23 at 80-57. That was with 10 minutes left. Luka Doncic nailed his second three-pointer of the quarter. The Raptors pulled within 15 with 6.5 minutes left in that third period at 87-72. But the Mavericks went on what was an 11-2 run to push that lead back up to 24. Kyrie Irving going off in that portion with 7 of the 11 points, knocking down 2 threes. Luka got a steal that capped off with the layup that capped off that run. And the Mavericks led by 24, 98-74 at that point. And it felt like we were on our way to a smooth blowout in this game by the Mavericks, but building that big lead, they were able to hang on because of that particular portion of the game where they were able to go up by 24 at that point.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you. The end of the game was shaky, but it's all about the context with which it had happened. If Dallas was not in a good point of their season, if this was closer to the Utah game, Utah reference, check it off. we need to use the Dlls stars. We need the bell, but we only use the bell for mentions of the Utah game. But if this was in a point of their season where Dallas was disappointing, where they had been unconvincing, the end of game shakiness would, it'd be something we talk about, and we'd be like, this is not good. I don't care. I don't care right now. Dallas has won 11 of 12. And more specifically, like when they've played bad teams, they've blown them out. They didn't quite stay committed enough to just finish this in a way that Max Prosper was playing the last 6 minutes. I don't care. I don't think it matters in the context of what Dallas has been doing, the way they have been very dominant against bad teams, the way that they have been beating good teams, even in very adverse situations. I just don't think that this is not, it's all about the context of which it happened in. It sounded like coconut stuff, coconut tree. But it all matters within the context. And because the context is that Dallas has been very convincing in every stage of, against every opponent, in every way that they've played, in every iteration of the roster that has been missing and absent. And again, tonight, Naji Marshal is somebody who's gone tonight. Maxey, which I'm not gonna say what the chat's gonna say about that.
Don't have to worry about it.
But I understand. But I don't care because this team, and again, the other big part of this is that it never truly got scary to the point that you thought Dallas was gonna win. This is what Bobby said. At no point did I don't think any of us in that second half thought that Dallas was gonna lose this game. And I don't think anybody in the chat, tell me if you disagree, I don't think anybody ever felt like Dallas was gonna lose this game. And so when you consider all of that context, when you put a shaky second half, an objectively shaky second half into the context of it all still working out in the end and it all still contributing to what Dallas now has, as you keep saying, Kevin, the hottest team in the NBA, period.
Yeah.
And especially when you think about 11 of 12. I think that it's all excusable. It's all something that you just kind of flush. And you revisit it if needed. If the team starts sliding a little bit in the weeks that follow this, I'm just not worried about it right now.
We almost thought it was going to be a 3-point deficit, Bobby, when Derek Lively II had 2 big blocks. And I bring that up because at one point it looked like it was going to be 120-117 with just about a minute left. And you're thinking, are they really about to potentially smoke away a 24-point lead in this game? But the defense picking up where it needed to and reasserting Derek Lively back into, the game in the fourth quarter and being able to settle things down from a defensive standpoint. Lively has continued to earn those minutes in the biggest portions of games. And just like the Denver game where he had the 2 big blocks, one of them on Nikola Jokic, he did it again tonight, really saving the Mavericks defensively in what could have been a debacle of a game if they had blown that 24-point lead there.
I didn't think that they were ever going to blow it, but that play at the end, it was great. was it 2 blocks that he got credited for? So both were
2.
blocks. I don't know if they like retroactively after a challenge if they count that or not, but in the clutch this year, he plays 3.3 clutch minutes per clutch game and averages 0.7 blocks in the clutch. So, I mean, extrapolate that, multiply it by 12. He's averaging like 8 blocks per 36 in crunch time, which is, I mean, it's amazing, you know. And I remember a lot of those plays. I mean, there was a couple tonight. He had some on Jokic earlier this year. He's had some big ones. You know, it just really feels like he just dials in big time in crunch time, you know, and like we see Luka and Kyrie do that on offense. It's a lot easier to look at like a player that takes over in, you know, like in the clutch in those moments when they have the ball in their hands, because you're like, that guy just looks like the game slows down. It just looks like he gets to his spots. He's just always going to make the right play. As a defender, it's not always as easy. But Lively is just so sharp and so crisp, and just like you can see his head on a swivel and he's talking. And, you know, he made a play on offense right before that, right after he checked in, because there was like a 2 or 3 minute stretch in the fourth quarter, in the midsection of the fourth quarter, when Luka and Lively were at the scores table trying to check in, and there was no stoppage of play, and J-Kid finally had to burn a timeout with like 4.5 minutes left. But Lively comes in, first play out of the timeout, cutting dunk from Kyrie, really, really hot pass from like 6 feet away, and he had to catch it in traffic, not shuffle his feet, go up and dunk. Like he's just really, really sharp in those moments. It really feels like for him at both ends of the floor, the game slows down in crunch time.
Yeah, that pass was coming like the Peyton Manning SNL skit where he's throwing at the kids.
Except Lively was actually turned around ready to catch the pass.
Except
Manning
big
firing
difference.
at the back. Yeah, exactly.
Big difference. Lively is not a child.
That's right. He's a man child.
But it was that type of speed. He was just like just trying to pelt him in the face. You know, honestly, like Dwight Powell is very good at catching passes. But that could have been another Dwight Powell gets hit in the face from a pass intended towards him.
we don't want Powell getting hit in the face. That's necessarily good. By the way, your big men tonight combining for what was 5 blocks in this game. Lively had 2. Daniel Gafford had 3 in this game as well. Daniel Gafford was 5 of 6 from the field. He had 10 points, also had 6 rebounds as well. One of the 6 guys in double figures. Just another game where Lively does what he needs to do with the 7 points, the 6 rebounds, the 2 blocks, had a couple of assists as well in this game. You're getting the kind of production that you need from your big men. Obviously, Jakob Poeltl had a big game for Toronto, but at the same time, your Mavericks big guys did what they had to do, especially down the stretch, to be able to get this win. And now, moving forward here, the confidence I want to ask you guys this real quick before we take our break, because winning 11 of 12 games, the confidence, it feels like, just continues to skyrocket. You guys talked about how they were able to slow things down in the clutch. Derek Lively playing well in those clutch minutes and points of games where he needs to. It just feels like the confidence for this team is growing night in and night out, and no matter who has to contribute what, they're getting exactly what they need to win games here. What does that do for the confidence of a team trying to assert itself as one of the best in the league, given the expectations that they have going forward here?
Can I be a wet blanket?
Sure.
And it's not really a wet blanket because they've won 11 or 12.
Yeah.
And I'm not actually speaking anything to the ability of the Dallas Mavericks. I just don't think this is a team that really lacked for confidence, even when they were 6-8. Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Derek Lively, Spencer Dinwiddie, PJ Washington, these are not players who are affected by being Quentin Grimes, Naji Marshall. I think these guys may be bolstered a little bit by what the team is doing. There's a few players around the roster that, I think are players who vibe on this stuff. Obviously, there's a little bit of an overall effect that happens when you win a bunch of games. There's no questioning that the team is a little bit better, a little bit more locked in when you believe in yourself. I just think that this team was down, that this team, and again, I was joking earlier, Tanner, when I told you, go clip. But I felt like this team was fine. And if the clips that Tanner pulls up say otherwise, then yes. But I remember being like, if they lose the game to Utah, then I will officially enter, quote unquote panic mode for what this team could be. And then after the Utah game, I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not entering it. And I think this team always believed in themselves. I genuinely think that it's really good to win a bunch of games.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is what the team expected of themselves the entire time. This team just went to the NBA Finals.
Yep.
At no point do I think that the team, when they were losing a few games in a row, felt that things were bad. I don't believe that. I listened to every press conference they had. I didn't hear it. I don't think this team thought that things were going bad. I think they were very annoyed that the results were not coming. But I believe that this team always believed they were going to be this iteration of who they are. And I just think that now that's happening. So, yes, confidence is a real thing. And I think it's affecting I think it's helping the team a little bit. I don't think it's driving a lot of this. I think that the team looks back at 11 or 12 games won and say, yep, that's about right. That's where we should be. All right, things are finally looking about how we expected them to be going into the season, because I genuinely believe this team is built and believes and expects itself to be an NBA Finals contender. And now they're finally doing it on the court. The results are showing on the court what they always expected and believed in themselves at every point of this NBA season.
All good. Okay. Bobby's all good. All right.
We just have to hit the break.
No,
Yeah, we have to hit the break. Honestly, I
I was
wanted
going
to
to give him 30 seconds to see if he had something. But then he's like, no,
if I could drop this mic, maybe I should have after that.
You probably should have just dropped the mic right there.
Well, it's kind of,
Yeah, you can't do that.
yeah, it's not really a droppable situation.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Well, let's take our next break here on the DLS Mavs post-game show. The Mavericks are becoming a juggernaut like these fellas discussed yesterday. More on this game, plus a little bit later on in our show. Our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, going to be joining us live from Toronto to give us his thoughts on tonight's game. All that more coming up next here on the DLS Mavs post-game show. But much like the Mavericks are versatile, Rugged Road is as well, and they deliver quality and durability wherever you go. Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the very best. Products designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions like your Dallas Mavericks. Whether you're on land or water, Rugged Road is built to accompany you on every adventure. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, their coolers, like the one sitting next to me right here, are built to last, ensuring they keep up with any adventure. Their coolers are guaranteed to keep their contents cool for up to 7 days, but oftentimes much longer than that. Perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, from fishing to tubing to camping and tailgating. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadsoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off. Again, ruggedroadsoutdoors.com. Use code DLLS for 10% off today.
When Ace of Base put out their chart topper, I saw the sign back in the 90s. They were talking about Saturday Neon, and the two college buddies heard that song and said, you know what? They make a good point. And they founded a company called Saturday Neon, where they make officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs, perfect for your home, office, dorm room, fan cave, bar, man cave, whatever you want it, wherever you want it. They got you down. Check out their new Essentials collections featuring almost 50 of the biggest schools across the country and counting for only $75, including Texas, who did not win, right?
They did not win the SEC title game.
Texas A&M,
Timothy Chalamet,
who also did not win the
you've
SEC.
been out since the day you were born.
Texas Tech did not win the Big 12. Oklahoma did not win whatever the conference they're in now, and Oklahoma State didn't win either, but they still got a lot of fans. I'm still waiting for some UTD representation. God, I want to do business with y'all so bad. Head over to SaturdayNeon.com and use code DLLS for 10% off your favorite sign. Again, SaturdayNeon.com. Use code DLLS.
Nearly 400 people watching us live here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. While you're here, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports. And also download and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts for free. These gentlemen yesterday were talking about how the Mavericks are a juggernaut in plain sight. Well, not in plain sight anymore, because the NBA should be taking notice that the hottest team in the league is residing right here in Dallas, Texas. Let me go to LV Lambeau. I want to go back to their comments up a little bit further, talking about confidence and chemistry and how they feel like it's going to be there when they get to the playoffs. I'll let you know when you get there. Yep, keep going just a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. And
Chat's been popping off tonight.
That
Shout
one right
out
there.
Chat.
Chat's going crazy.
And that's my favorite right there. Shout out to confidence and chemistry is going to be insane come playoff time. Sheesh. That's what it feels like right now as your Dallas Mavericks are playing.
Call it the CC.
That's right. All the C words. Chemistry,
Oh,
confidence,
well, not all of them.
continuity.
There's some we don't say on this show.
It is important. The playoffs are really far away. And,
They are.
And the reason that I say this is because, your interview with Legs came out on our channel yesterday, and it was awesome. And Tim Legler is just as high in the Mavs as he's ever been. And rightfully so. I mean, they're a really good team. But the way that the conversation was framed is like Legs is like, I think that with the group they have and with the way that these guys are playing right now, especially the non-Luka, non-Kyrie guys, the Mavs could be a title contender. And a lot of Mavs fans are like, well, no, duh, dummy. They were in the finals last year. Of course they're a contender, and they probably got better. So, duh, of course they're a contender. But it's important to say, like, at the start of every season, everyone is back down at the bottom of the mountain. You know, everyone starts from square one again. And so you can't just skip the scenes to get to the good part, in April and May. Like, you have to not only start well, but you got to maintain, and then you have to end well. Like, it's a long season, and we're still kind of in that kind of like opening sprint period. So it's a really long season. And I think that they have like the long-mindedness, sort of like the looking ahead down the roadness from J Kidd's experience and from Kyrie and Luka and Clay, obviously, who's been on some of the best regular season teams of all time, some that have gone on to win titles, some that haven't, and so I think that kind of veteran experience is really important because this is one of the best starts that they've gotten off to in Luka's career. But we've seen them get off to better starts than this and give those games right back in December or in January. We've seen them get off to worse starts than this and end up with great records because they turn it on just in the nick of time. But it's a really, really long season. So, games like this, it's good to get wins. It's good to get the wins against Memphis that you probably shouldn't have won. It's good to get the wins against the Wizards where you didn't have to try too hard. But it's a really, really long year.
Can I say something kind of crazy?
Yes.
You're talking about how they need to be a title
Mavs.
contender last season?
Yes.
Or this season? I don't think they were one last season.
Oh, wow.
They went to the finals, but I don't think that they really had any reasonable scenarios to beat Boston. They couldn't do it even when Kristaps got injured. They couldn't even take game 3. They won game 4.
Shout out
They were
Lauren
not
with the
competitive
whoosh in the
game
chat.
5.
Sorry.
You're good.
Whoosh. That's right.
What's whoosh?
That's the UTD like caw thing. Like
Say it
it's-
with your chest.
we make a comet like
Oh, interesting.
like a comet,
okay.
you do like the full like it's a UTD.
UTD
Where's the comets?
UTD is like always looking at UNT and being like, we feel bad for you.
I have never thought about UNT in my life.
Well, we haven't thought of. You know what Ka is, and I've never heard of your.
Well, I know
little
the
thing.
Horned Frogs do the thing and the Longhorns do
Yeah,
the, everyone
you know
does the
because
thing,
we're
the
a big
guns up
school.
thing and
We're a
the-
school that matters.
Y'all finna fight?
Unlike
Y'all
you.
finna fight?
No, I don't care about colleges at all, except for the TCU Horned Frogs. You should watch the All Horned Frog show
Thank you.
every Wednesday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and the Arizona State one, or was it just Arizona?
Arizona State.
Oh yeah, we hosted Arizona State. They
Yeah.
had a fun time.
They
in
won
our
the Big 12
offices.
championship.
I don't think Dallas was a title contender last year. I watched them against Boston. They were not on their level. The entire point of being a title contender is that you can win the title. It's not that you can get to the finals, it's that you can win a title. I'm not saying maybe nobody was a title contender last year except for Boston. Maybe OKC, maybe, I don't think anybody from the West would have beaten, OKC maybe. OKC, I could see at least how they would match up a little bit better. I think Dallas is a better team than last season. I think that's important. They got trounced in the finals. There's a scenario where Luka and Kyrie play better, but if we're doing hypotheticals, then Kristaps Porzingis is not injured. I don't think they had the personnel to go up against a fully healthy Boston team and beat them. I think that they are starting to build a team that is more equipped to be competitive, to make a potential final series against Boston, 6 games, 7 games, and potentially a win. And that, to me, is the big difference of this team from last season. Yes, they went to the finals, but I think when Legs says he sees this as a title contender, he talked about them having a chance to make it out of the West last season. He probably said the word title contender. We do say the word title contender when we say, oh, well, they can make it to the finals, because you're right, anything can happen. But in hindsight, when you're looking back at what happened last season, do you genuinely believe that there is some scenario where Dallas could have just yes, maybe they make all their shots and they win. Dallas is not as good as Boston. I think we all know that. The entire point of this offseason and the team that we're starting to see is a team that is improving. That is improving based off what they did last season. That's important. That's needed. That's necessary. That's why Dallas changed its roster. That's why they have, 3 of 5, 4 of 5 new rotation players as compared to last season. You do that because you went to the finals and you were not good enough with the team that you had. So I think it's really important. I'm kind of like, maybe I'm hammering a point home that, everybody already kind of understands, but I think it's important. This team is starting to become a title contender in a way last season was not. It's not an obvious point. It's an important point. It's an important distinction that I think Dallas is starting to prove in a way that they did not, just based off when you look at last season.
I mean, think about what they had to do last year. Dallas had to go 16-2 in their most meaningful games to be able to get to what was a top 5 seed in the Western Conference. And then you take out the Clippers. Obviously, they were compromised with no Kawhi Leonard. You beat you beat the number 1 seed, Oklahoma City Thunder, in those semis. Then you take out a talented Timberwolves team. And a lot of folks felt like last year's run to the finals was a little bit of a fluke based on the way that the Mavericks did it. I feel like they earned every bit of it, taking out the teams that they did in the Clippers, the Thunder, and the Timberwolves to get to the finals. But yeah, the changes were made to feel like you could eventually compete with the very top of the NBA, which obviously last year was the Celtics. And this year, the big thing to remember, and one of the things that sticks out from my conversation with Legler, a couple days ago, is every year is different. You've got to build a team that's capable of winning based off of what is needed to win that year, or as Bobby, you mentioned during the pregame show, the Mavericks, what they need to do to win that game. They have now built a team that can win in a variety of ways, much like last year, how they were winning games defensively, they were winning games offensively, they were winning games in a variety of ways. Now you have personnel that can function in different situations, can play to the kind of style, whether it be playing with more pace like they've done in the last 11 games, we're a top 10 pace team, or they can slow it down and play in half court because they got guys that can knock down shots. This team has built a roster that it appears is growing to one that can win in a ton of different ways and can compete with the teams that you feel like realistically will be there at the end of the season. And I think that's my biggest takeaway is you've got a team full of personnel that can play different styles, win different games different ways, and be comfortable in doing that night in and night out based off your 2 superstars and Luka and Kyrie leading you in that way.
Yeah, and like during last year's playoff run, I mean, they did that, right? Like, how did they beat OKC? It was guys shooting corner threes. I mean, PJ and Derrick Jones did it against the Clippers. Dude, I don't remember Luka's numbers from that series, but it was basically like you beat the Clippers without Luka. Like he had a horrible series against LA because he was banged up, obviously. In the way that they were defending him, it was other guys that beat the Clippers.
Like Kyrie was leading the charge.
Yeah, and then and Kyrie closed him out, and then in the conference finals, it was Luka and Kyrie saying like, "Hey, Ant, we're better than you." As it relates specifically to Boston and to teams like Boston, which there's really no other team like Boston. Boston is still a 1 of 1 in my opinion.
Agreed.
OKC is like in their best iteration. They might be able to rival Boston. It's having a lot of defenders, having a lot of ability to switch. So as it relates to this Mavs team in particular, trusting Derek Lively to switch, trusting Lively to step out, trusting Luka and Kyrie to hold their own defensively, which we saw them do for most of the playoff run, but can they do it again? Can they do it for the whole season to get yourself a top 4 seed, to make it easier on you, to where whenever you make it to the finals, you have more juice in the tank? Because by the end of that series, those guys were exhausted. And it's having depth. It's having multiple ball handlers to make Luka's job easier throughout the season and throughout the series. Jaylen Brown was hounding his ass all finals, and Luka just, again, ran out of steam. That's why you get Naji. That's why Quentin Grimes being able to handle the ball matters. That's why getting shooters that they can't just leave open. Derrick Jones, they just left open all finals. You can't do that with Clay. You can do that with Grimes if you're feeling lucky, punk. But like that's it. So they did make a lot of changes to their roster specifically to contend a little better with Boston, but you got to beat a whole lot of teams till you get there. That's why it's like you just can't put the cart before the horse. I know that this team is really freaking good. This team is probably going to go on a deep playoff run. They might even go to the finals. They might even win the whole damn thing. But you can't skip the scenes. You got to watch Frodo and Sam form the fellowship in Rivendell before you can get to the Battle of the Pelennor Fields. Like you gotta know where you're coming from before you get to where you're going. Because the journey is the destination, folks. That's what I'm getting at.
And they're on a hell of a journey right now, having won 11 of their last 12 games and continue to play some terrific basketball. The rest of the association having to take notice on what Dallas is doing, because all they do, DJ Khaled, is win games, and they're doing it at a high rate right now. Let's take our next break here on the DLS Mavs postgame show. Coming up next, we welcome in our national NBA insider Marc Stein live from Toronto. Plus, we'll get to your super chats as well as we continue here on the DLS Mavs postgame show. But first, we want you to become part of our DLLS Sports family here at DLLS Sports by becoming a diehard member. Go to alldlls.com, click the diehard and become a diehard member today. You can get a free t-shirt at sign up as well. You'll get access to our member-only Discord. You can also make sure that you get to our premium content on our website. We've got pregame shows, postgame shows. On Tuesday, we're having our watch-along when the Mavericks take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. We want you to be part of that right here at DLLS Sports.
Gonna get drunk on live TV. Let's go.
If you like, we're gonna get drunker than Arizona State.
I'm not saying if you like what you saw with Arizona State today,
it's impossible.
We're gonna go through an entire. Well,
we'll see. We'll see.
We're not counting what Arizona State did today, because nobody believed in them. Nobody.
That's right.
Nobody believed in them except Timothée Chalamet.
No, all right.
This morning.
But we're not promoting that show. AllDLS.com. Become a diehard member today. Member-only Discord. Premium content on our website. 20% off our events as well. And again, you get a free t-shirt at sign up as well. We just came off our best sale ever. We want you to become part of our family before the holidays as well. If you're thinking about a gift for your favorite sports fan, for your favorite DFW sports fan, gift them a diehard membership. Let them get that physical diehard card, just like this, Bobby. You showed off like this. You show off your physical diehard card, and then you let them know that you're part of our DLLS Sports family here, and then you tag us on social media. Bobby will shout you out. Tim will shout you out. I'll shout you out here on DLLS Sports.
I hope again,
you want to become part of our family, and we want you to do it right now. Click that. Can you point to the QR code, Bobby? Can you point to the QR code that's right there? Yeah, click that QR code and join us here.
Yeah, you're getting close to.
I just look like I'm pointing at Grady.
AllDLLS.com. Become a diehard member today. Before we get to our National NBA Insider, Marc Stein, let's read a couple of our super chats that we've got in here. Let's start with our guy, Joseph Vandergriff. Nico. Thanks for the $1.99 super chat. We'll go with Nico. Next one, Reader's Digest.
Joseph, genuinely, Nico has brought a more vision that aligns with what is capable with, like, within the CBA. Donnie was very good at aspects of his job, but also, like, Donnie was always. I'll put it this way: Nico is the superior GM because he has the least control from Mark Cuban of the two. Done.
All right. Reader's Digest. Let's go to Reader's Digest for the $5 super chat. Really appreciate it. Thoughts on the Wizards breaking the streak. Yes, they had lost 16 straight games before they beat the Denver Nuggets, where Nikola Jokic went off for 56 points, 16 rebounds, 8 assists.
Yeah, you hate to see it, don't you?
And they lost. Yes. What was it? No Jamal or Gordon, but the Wiz had like a few guys out too. Yeah, man. That's why look, I said last night or a couple nights ago when the Mavs was playing the Wiz, man, you play every NBA game with your very best capabilities, because you just never know who's going to show up and be able to beat you on any given night. Like any given Sunday is any given night in this association. And the Denver Nuggets found out the hard way tonight.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I think over the course of the last two off seasons, losing your most valuable like perimeter defenders back-to-back for nothing is probably not a good idea.
Calvin.
That's not very good.
Talking to you, Calvin.
But
Denver's a bad
at least
team.
they're not paying the luxury tax or whatever, so that's cool.
What's your favorite subject to talk about?
Denver is not a contender. The Nuggets are not a contending NBA team this season.
Oh.
That's not there's 4 NBA teams that can contend. It's the Mavericks, it is Oklahoma City, it's Cleveland, and it's Boston. Boston is
the
overwhelming favorite.
It's
a
long
season, man.
The Knicks. No, there are not teams set up to contend.
Season.
I'm not ready to put
I'm
not ready to put Nicole in the ground yet. I'm not ready to put him in the ground yet. Not yet.
This looked exactly like Luka Doncic trying to win games for the Dallas Mavericks 2 years ago. I think Denver's a little bit better than that Mavs team 2 seasons ago. But this is what it looks like. He took 38 shots.
I mean,
he was amazing with it.
But wait a minute. That team 2 years ago went to the Western Conference Finals, though.
The desperation to take 38 shots in a game to beat the Washington Wizards is something that I have seen before. It doesn't end well.
I'm just saying, you said the team like 2 years ago. That team went to the Western Conference Finals, so you're saying different.
No, 2 years ago they went to the lottery.
2 years ago, I went to the lottery. That was I
2 years ago, I was at the lottery that the Mavericks.
I see what you're doing now. Just saying. 2 calendar years ago, whatever.
No, 2 seasons ago. Last season, they went to the finals.
Yes.
2 seasons ago.
Yes,
you got to update,
yes,
dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's almost 2025.
No, it was tricky when we were doing this in the offseason. We were like, oh, was it a season ago? Was it 2 seasons?
No more.
2 seasons ago. 2 seasons ago.
I got you. 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Let's go to Toronto and welcome in our national NBA insider. You can find him on X at the Stein Line. He is, of course, Marc Stein. Marc, what's going on?
Hi, guys. Can you hear me all right?
Uh-oh, Mark.
Oh, we can't hear you
I
just
think
yet.
you're muted.
You can't hear me?
Oh,
Now we can.
Oh, there we are. Mark.
Now we got you.
Definitely have me.
Yes, we got you. Rather dapper looking as well in Toronto. How were your views from
You kind of look like Pochettino right now. You got a Pochettino vibe going on.
Is that good?
Oh,
no.
we lost him again. We'll get him back here.
Wait, what's going on?
Yeah, we'll get him back here in just a second. Yeah, we'll get him back. But we'll get Marc Stein back up here in just a second. He is live from Toronto. Rather dapper. Everybody's looking for Dapper Stein. And,
I said, by the way, the Knicks are one team that is kind of contender adjacent. And I have not seen enough to know for sure. I want to see what Mitchell Robinson back on the team looks like. I want to see if they make moves at the deadline. I think Hartenstein was a huge loss for them. I just, like Mikal Bridges returns to form, returns to, quite frankly, they don't need the Brooklyn Mikal. They need the Phoenix Mikal. That changes the team a little bit. I'm not sure that player is still here. But yeah, the Knicks are a team contender adjacent. Memphis also is. I don't trust them to stay healthy, but everything
did they go on
about
to beat
them.
Boston tonight, by the way?
Memphis beat Boston. They did 127-121. This is a really interesting team. Their numbers, they're like analytics number. Their underlying numbers are so impressive.
I
They
tried
are
to tell
just
you about Memphis,
whooping.
man. I tried to
I didn't
tell
believe
you.
you.
I tried to tell you.
Was he just muted on our end?
Let's try it again.
But yeah, anyway, I think there are 4 contenders. I think there's 2 adjacent. Marc Stein, how are you?
Can you guys hear me?
We
Yes,
can.
Yes.
we got you.
So maybe it was not my fault.
I don't think it was.
Well, let's
I
not
think
rush
that-
to conclusions.
I think it's international
because if it's not your
relations
fault, then it
between the
means
US and
it's
Canada
our
are frayed.
fault. And we don't
I
like.
Squarely on the man in the middle, Tim Cato.
You are officially back. We can definitely hear you for sure.
The thing about blaming me is that I don't know how any of this works, and it's the best alibi that I've ever come up with.
Well, I would never blame Tanner, so by default, it is your fault.
Oh, the other
Damn.
person whose name starts with a T. Unbelievable. Tanner, we share this name starting with T privilege. Although it doesn't really seem very privileged tonight of us.
Sounds like that's something that the two of you
Yeah.
need to work out at a
Marc
later-
Stein, how is
later date.
Canada?
Canada is tremendous. I tried to research this to be triply sure. I believe it's the first time I've been here in 5 years. I obviously covered the 2019 finals that were here. I was here again later in 2019. I do not think I've been back since. If I have been, I couldn't remember it. I have no documentation. So as far as I know, this was my grand return after 5 years. Good show. The local crowd was quite wowed by your Mavericks. There were a lot of Mavs fans in the building. The ridiculous displays that we saw from Luka and Kyrie caused a lot of gasping. When Kyrie left the court after, I believe, a radio interview, he lingered to sign autographs, and I watched a frenzy as if Vince Carter was here on the day his jersey was retired. Like, the local fans were going crazy to get anything signed from number 11. Your Mavs are kind of a traveling show. They're kind of a big deal.
I mean, that's what happens when you win 11 out of 12 games. And I will say, I'll just pat my own self on the back because, you got to do that to encourage yourself sometimes. It was Slovenian Heritage Night in Toronto. And I said in the pregame show, I said, hey, guys, we might want to be on the on more Luka lookout than normal because he might want to put on a show in front of some of his fellow countrymen tonight. And he did so, not only with the 30 points that he had, but the shot of the evening with the half-court three-pointer that he hit to give the Mavericks a 16-point lead. I'm sure there were a lot of oohs and ahs when Luka hit that three-pointer to end the first half tonight.
Tanner, I'm going to need a poll question thrown into chat. What was the more exciting Luka moment? The half-court bank shot that somehow landed on the stat sheet as a 37-footer. No clue how it was that short. Or B, and my choice, that ridiculous zip of a fling pass to Clay in the corner that whizzed by Lively at speeds that a basketball is not supposed to travel, and Clay hit that wing three. The pass was, Luka, we know he can make shots from ridiculous distances. He spent a ball got stuck on top of the backboard during pregame warmups. One of the kind that like Boban could reach it easy, but no other human can get it without a
back
broom.
where the camera overlay happens, like all the court. Yeah.
I swear to you, Luka spent half of his pregame warmup intentionally shooting rainbows to hit the ball to try to dislodge it that way. And he wasn't successful dislodging it, but he literally took 5 shots that hit the ball wedge on top of the backboard in between the cameras. And I don't think I've ever seen that. It was just ridiculous that he just, like in the middle of his warm, just decided, I am going to knock that ball out no matter what I have to do. And he finally gave up. But like I said, he launched about 5 shots that actually made contact with the ball. And it was obviously weird and meaningless, but also I couldn't stop watching it.
And
so
this is why his passes are more impressive. Because of the nature of how basketball works, we see him hit shots like this all the time, but you can't make passes in pregame warmups. And so I am so desensitized to how good he is at making some of the most impressive shots any NBA play, like with regularity.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to catch that L.
I got you.
I couldn't quite do it.
Like Toronto caught it tonight. I got you.
Oh, okay.
That
was good wordplay.
Yeah, you got it.
That is a professional host.
But
yeah, no, I just see so many Luka shots, and obviously they're insanely impressive. But I think that we've seen so many of them that it's the passes that as a basketball highlight appreciator, that's the stuff that I really am drawn to much more than the shot making at this point. Even though that was, I don't know what's up with it. I would like to talk to the stat keepers at this game. 38 feet. Let's be real.
Yeah, I feel like he got shorted a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it was 37 in the play-by-play. And it's always shorter in the play-by-play than it feels in real life. But that felt like 37.
Too short.
Way too short.
Like, we can do the math on it. An NBA court is 94 feet. So half of that is going to be 47. And he was a few steps inside the three-point line at a distance, like at an angle. If he was a few steps inside the three-point line or inside the half-court line, bang on. Maybe you could say 40. But also, when you include the angle of being closer to the sideline, had to be more than 37, just like based off where he was.
Yeah, we did not send a pool reporter to interview the stat crew, but it was a discussion topic. But
well,
look,
Tim
man,
Frank is going to give you a call in the morning and say, that's not the purpose of the pool report. I love Tim Frank. He's the best.
Don't worry, Tim Frank's not watching this. No worries. You don't really need this.
Oh, man. I thought Tim, just out of solidarity for a fellow Tim.
Before we continue with our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, we appreciate our television audience for joining us here on the Dlls Mavs postgame show. Don't forget to tune in on Tuesday. We will have our pregame show beginning at 8 p.m. as the Mavericks take on the Oklahoma City Thunder with a chance to get to the NBA Cup semifinals. So appreciate our television audience for joining us here on the show.
Tanner, I didn't hear anything.
Because he didn't need to push
59 alert. Fast channel 59 alert.
Stein, hold on. Let me talk to Stein for a second. Hold on. Let me talk to you for a second. We don't need that sound unless we're getting close up to it. Your boy is working, so unless it's needed, we're not gonna hear your voice during that particular portion of the show. Okay.
Listen, I know you can nail it without that, but when I'm on in the fourth segment, it's just kind of fun to hear Tanner drop that in.
I'm just messing with you.
Nobody's questioning your hosting. I was just making sure Tanner was on his game. That's it.
I'm just messing with you, Stein. I'm just messing with you, man. You out there with views from the 6, and I'm kind of jealous that you're out there internationally traveling, looking as dapper as you do. So I had to mess with you a little bit. I'm back, so I had to mess with you a little bit. Speaking of back real quick, Klay Thompson, nice performance tonight. 20 points as well. Unfortunately, there were some guys missing. Naji Marshal continues to deal with the illness. Maybe Maxi Kleber caught what he had because he was out tonight due to illness. Jaden Hardy missed a game with the ankle sprain. What can you tell us about whatever the hell this illness is going around for the Mavericks that continues to catch up with players on this team?
I think Naji's deal is in his own category. Now, he went through a pretty extensive pregame warm-up of his own, but he's obviously missed more than one game with this illness. So I think the team needs to get back and, see if they can pinpoint the problem, see if, because obviously they've missed him. And the next game is a huge one, and you would like to have everybody for that one. But there were certainly no declarative statements here about will they have either Naji Marshal or Maxi Kleber ready for Tuesday night against Oklahoma City. So I can't tell you yet about their status. But look, I pulled Jason Kidd aside after his main post-game press availability because there was only one question asked about Tuesday night's game, and I wanted to ask a little bit more, and he graciously stopped to let me ask him, and I just flat out put it to him, like, how bad do these guys want to go to Vegas? And, he says everyone is talking about it. They're leaning into how big of a game this is. They're not downplaying it. This is, to this point, the game of the Mavericks season. Tim mentioned it the last time we had a group chat like this. Both teams are going to have rest. Nobody's back-to-backing. Like, obviously, it's in Oklahoma City again, so the Thunder have an advantage there. But this is a massive game. The stakes do matter to these guys now. They want the shot at Vegas. And, they've got to play the Thunder again. We already know these teams are, I don't want to say rivalry yet, but they are building to that level. And yeah, I appreciated the fact that Jason Kidd didn't try to give me a just another game speech, because for regular season purposes, this is not just another game. It's not the playoffs, but it's a pretty significant litmus test. And look, I saw your interview with Legs, and, he's saying on his scorecard that the winner of this game is going to go on and win the whole cup. And he may well be proven right. So I think that obviously all 4 quarterfinals, we're finally going to see some knockout basketball, some winner go home basketball, which is tremendous. So all four quarterfinals will have the league's attention. But I think Dallas and OKC will be a particularly spicy one.
Dude, I'm psyched.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to be the Oklahoma City Dallas game is probably the premier game of the quarterfinals, given the amount of star power, how these teams have obviously gotten together in the playoffs last year. The game that they just played, what feels like a million years ago, but it was just a couple of weeks ago. PJ Washington with the 27 and 17 that he had in that game. It should be a fun one with obviously a lot on the line for both of these teams to try to get to Las Vegas as we continue with our National NBA Insider, Marc Stein, and someone who hopefully is getting closer to a little bit of a return. The Mavericks have a lot of guards. They could have one more if Dante Exum is getting closer. Where are we at with Dante Exum as he continues to work back from his right wrist injury and surgery?
Flat out total candor. I failed you guys. I had a string of very good pregame chats with a lot of people I hadn't seen for a while. I love it's so weird how you can, in some ways, you have a better chance of checking in with people. Even with the Dallas-based Mavericks, it's sometimes easier to talk to people on the road. So I was engrossed in a bunch of different conversations, and there was just no opportunity today for me to get a Dante exit quote update. I know I promised you guys that. I failed you, and I definitely will rectify it before Tuesday. But it's funny, I because it wasn't Toronto is obviously not our home arena, so I'm like, I'm not sure where I'm going to be able to do this post-game hit. And then I thought, you know what, the hotel is close enough. I'm just going to run back to the hotel and do it at the hotel. So I left before Kyrie Irving's post-game press conference. I wasn't able to stay for that. I wanted to make sure I was in place for this. But like I said, the night got away from me. I got tied up in too many other different things. And I did not get your Dante Exum update, and I profusely apologize.
Well, that does it for our chat with Marc Stein tonight. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Cam Calloway in the chat says,
when I had the chance to pull Kid aside, what was more important? A Dante Exum update when this team is rolling, or to get his thoughts on the NBA Cup? And so I opted to ask about the NBA Cup. I mean, look, I have to say, just being around this team here, I mean, the vibe should be good when you win 11 out of 12. But I just feel like the way, Luka, Kyrie, these guys are throwing these long outlet passes. I mean, just offensively, this team's identity just seems so much more solidified than it did in the first 10 to 15 games of the season. And, even with a bunch of new players, these guys now, they just offensively, they know who they are, and it's really helping them at the defensive end too. And just, again, okay, they didn't close well. They didn't protect the lead well. I think Kidd said it right afterward. There's been a ton of crazy travel. He's not going to nitpick and jump down their throats because they played a little loose in the second half after getting up 24. The game was never truly in danger. They saw, that's another thing, and I don't know how much you guys have talked about it. Just this schedule has been crazy. I think it's a stretch of 17 games with 4 home games mixed in, and all 4 home games were one-offs. So that's some weird scheduling. And for the most part, they've coped with it really well. They're spending the night in Toronto, flying back to Dallas tomorrow at a civil hour. Obviously, they'll go to Oklahoma City on Monday after a practice. So, everybody's in pretty high spirits.
You guys anything else?
I think we're good.
Are you guys
dude,
mad?
like I said, psyched for Tuesday. Really psyched.
Yeah, excited for Tuesday.
Update. I apologize.
Oh, no, it's fine.
I feel like I let Bobby down.
No, it's okay, Mark. It's all right. Your boys gave Palace a point today, so it's all good. It's all good.
You crestfallen. We're not talking about Palace and City. We are not discussing that.
No, we can talk about it if you want.
No, he don't want to talk about that.
Oh, okay.
He don't want to talk about that. I do want to ask you about this because one of the things that some folks have jumped into our chat with. Okay, so Nikola Jokic goes for a career high 56 points tonight, and they lose to the Washington Wizards, who were on a 16-game losing streak, thanks to, in part, the Mavericks beating them a couple of nights ago by 36 as well. But, shout out to our DNVR folks. They are down bad right now because the Nuggets are not playing well. Just your quick thought on just how things are going based off of what you saw in the league tonight. Memphis beat Boston on the road. Obviously, the Nuggets lost to Washington. Kind of a wild night in the association in some respects, given some of the performances and games we saw.
Yeah, no, look, my whole fourth quarter was texting with other people around the league. Are you guys seeing this Denver-Washington score? Can you believe what is going on here? So the Nuggets, by tomorrow, will be the talk of the league, and it's for all the wrong reasons. And Jokic is playing arguably the best basketball of his life. He is a walking triple-double. The numbers he posted tonight are from another planet. And to lose to a Washington team that the Wizards didn't just lose 16 straight. I mean, they have been getting obliterated. Their point differential is way deeper in the negative than the Pistons were piling up at the same stage on the way to 28 straight L's, a single season league record. I mean, the Wizards have been thoroughly non-competitive. And so, I mean, yeah, everyone around the league is wondering, like, how Jokic feels. And that's the thing is, like, he just doesn't ever say anything about his team situation, his happiness level. And, I mean, I would love to hear some candid Jokic thoughts. And I just don't think we're going to get them. But, like, they are a team that is very shy in terms of trade assets. I mean, how do they change this? I mean, but yeah, the Nuggets, they are the talk of the league right now. And it is not a good thing.
It's not.
It's not.
I do want to, the only thing I'll add very briefly is that Jamal Murray is as big a part of this as anything else. So,
well,
it's not been good.
Should be the talk of the NBA when it comes to the positive side of things. Your Dallas Mavericks, boys and girls, because they cannot lose. They win again tonight, 125-118. We cannot wait, Mark, on Tuesday when the Mavericks visit the Oklahoma City Thunder in the NBA Cup knockout stage. I'm sure you'll be in a much better mood because we're playing knockout basketball at this point for a trip to Vegas. I just want the Mavericks to win this game so Mark can go to Vegas. Like, I just want him to go so you can enjoy yourself.
It's not just me. Won't you like it better?
I mean, I would love it, but I'm probably not going to Vegas. I must live vicariously through you at that particular point.
But I'm talking about the fact that it's knockout basketball. It's not just I'm going to like it. We're all going to like it better.
But you're on our show, so I'm talking about you.
Mark, we're going to love it. Don't worry.
We're going to love it. Yeah, we're going to love it. We're going to love it. But you're going to love it even more. Mark, we love you. We appreciate you. Enjoy your views from the 6, and we'll talk to you next week.
Fast Channel 59 alert. See you guys later.
Bye, Mark. Bye, Mark. That's our national NBA insider, Marc Stein. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line. Gentlemen, any final thoughts, words, or words of affirmation for our fellow DLS sports family here before we go?
Thanks for hanging. Tuesday live watch along, 8:30. Plan accordingly.
Live watch along.
We'll tell you more about that on Monday, though.
Yeah, our pregame show will begin at 8 p.m. Game time will be 8:30. We will have our first watch along. So we'll have our regular podcast on Monday at 1 p.m. Yeah, tip offs at 8:30. That's right. So get your sleep. So make sure you tune in with us on Monday at 1 p.m. for our regular DLS Mavs podcast. And Tuesday, pregame will be at 8 p.m. Our watch along begins at 8:30 as the Mavericks look to try and get to the NBA Cup semifinals in Las Vegas. They'll need to do it on the road once again as they take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. But the Mavericks win 125-118. Luka Doncic, his second straight triple-double, passing James Harden and Wilt Chamberlain, and is alone in 7th on the all-time triple-double list. Luka and Kyrie combining for 59 in the win. All vibes, all good for your Dallas Mavericks, who are now 2nd in the West. Appreciate all of you joining us here on the DLS Mavs postgame show. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on the way out the door, and download and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts for free. That's Bobby Carolla. That's Tim Cato. I'm your man, Kevin Gray. We'll talk to you on Monday here on the DLS Mavs podcast. Y'all have a good weekend. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.